look at this keyboard. Now look at this one and this one too. Now listen to this one. And this one? And this one? Is it just me? Or are they all the same? Am I the one taking crazy bills? But it wasn't always this way. Keyboards used to be diverse and fun and different, not the same 75% blob again and again. And now we're finally going back. Starting with this keyboard, the Zen65 by Wobkey. And it just might be the best 65% keyboard out right now. Now, when I got this board, I didn't think much of it. Just another keyboard with some nice muted colors and an aluminum case. Nothing special. But then I realized no one is making 65% keyboards anymore. Sure, there's been a few that have come out the past few months, but compared to just a couple of years ago, it's a ghost town. 65% keyboards used to rule the world. Then the Fire Nation attacked. 75% came along, just an extra row of F keys on top and some knobs, and they wiped everything else out. Now, everything sounds the same, everything looks the same, creamy, poppy, loud, 75% with a knob. But this keyboard, the Wobkey Zen65, isn't trying to keep up. It's going in the opposite direction. Muted, deep, and thocky. Compact, like the custom keyboards I used to dream about back in 2020. And with the starting price of just $89, could this really be the best 65% keyboard of the year? It's from the same company that made the Rainy 75, one of the best overall keyboards of last year. So yeah, this could be another banger. But there's one big problem. It's in Kickstarter. For a successful company such as Wobkey, they should have the money to make it an in-stock product that you can get as soon as you buy it. So are there hidden problems that you should know about? What makes it stand out from amongst the rest of the keyboards? And most importantly, should you get it? Hi, I'm Betty, and I've been obsessed with keyboards for the past 5 years. That's older than my daughter. But anyways, back to the board. To decide if this keyboard is really a banger though, we have to understand why 65% keyboards disappeared in the first place. We need to go back when Fortnite Zoomers ruled the internet.
Why did he do that?
Ninja and Drake were besties.
Oh, let's go. Let me watch the God work, you know?
I got you, baby.
And keyboards were just about to get crazy popular. 2018. There was a tiny keyboard that ruled above all else, 60%. These were at the top of the food chain. People thought they were cool if they used them like this. But they were missing one important thing, the arrow keys. Enter 65% keyboards with the same compact size as 60% and the additional arrow keys. It was a dream come true. And with a few short years, they dominated the space. Finally, you could game comfortably and use those sweet arrow keys for other things too. From the budget boards to the most premium custom keyboards, 65% dominated. But then something crazy happened. People, whoever they are, started realizing that you could get even more function, get it, without sacrificing the compact width by adding another row on top, the function row. And boom, 75% just made more sense. Why access the F keys on another layer when you could just reach up and press it? And after a few short years and the Rainy 75 dominating the world, they're everywhere. But what if you wanted something else? What if you liked the more compact layout? Well, this is your year. It seems that this year, layouts other than 75% are making a comeback. And it might start with this, the Zen65. Full disclaimer, Wobkey sent this keyboard over asking me if I could try it out, but they did not pay me any money to make a video on it. At first, I wasn't even impressed. I didn't care about it at all. But their selling point was the sound was relaxing and meditative, hence the name Zen. Not to be confused with the gaming keyboard, the Ponage Zen Blade 65. So I tried it out and nostalgia hit me. This sound, it's what I really loved about keyboards when I first started. A deep, muted thok, a peaceful and relaxing typing sound instead of the loud and creamy poppy sound that's so popular now. And to figure out why it sounds like this, I began my investigation. After all, a keyboard sound comes from a combination of all the little things. Thankfully, taking apart the Zen65 is surprisingly easy, and it takes less than 5 seconds. The top and bottom case have a ball catch design, so all you do is pry the top off using your fingertips, using the middle of the keyboard as leverage. And looking at the top case, you can really see how much effort they put into the machining. It's got chamfered edges that are also polished with a little shine. It's almost like a mirrored finish, but with a little haziness. The bottom case, though, bears most of the weight of the board. It even has a wireless dongle inside this little magnetic cover. What I found inside surprised me. There's barely any foam. Most keyboards now have at least 5 layers of foam, including silicone inserts and thick layers of poron to reduce echo and amplify the boppy sound. This bottom case has only 2 layers, and it looks like there's some between the plate and PCB as well, but we'll take a look soon. But what really shocked me was the brass insert. This must be why the keyboard is so heavy at 3 pounds and 5.5 ounces. There's also no cables anywhere. All you get is this magnetic pogo that connects the batteries and the daughter board to the PCB. These are really nice quality of life improvements that we're starting to see so many premium keyboards adopt, which I love. So far, so good. Once you take apart the keyboard entirely, there's 2 more layers of foam between the plate and PCB, a PE sheet and a layer of poron foam. And on the PCB, there's also a thin clear tape to make it sound even better. I guess this thing does have 5 layers of foam after all. So let's just say this thing rivals many other keyboards in terms of foamage. For this price, this is pretty impressive. But there's another big problem that we'll talk about soon. The foam and case materials are only a part of the equation. There's more that contributes to the sound, like the keycaps, the switches, and the plate too. The keycaps on the Zen65 are clean with muted colors that match the beige of the case. And apparently you can get a bunch of other colors too, but we'll also get to that later. Mine are pastel pink, blue, and yellow, and it reminds me of a little baby nursery. I am not having a baby right now, just so you know. And if you look closer, they're made of double shot PBT, which adds to the muted sound with the thick plastic walls. You're not cutting any corners with these keycaps, that's for sure. Now underneath, we have the Kale box switches with an MX stem, and these are some of the smoothest switches I've ever felt. It looks like it's made entirely of palm, but currently I don't have much info on the switches. Palm is known for its self-lubricating abilities over time and for its lower pitch sound. There's also a light diffuser for RGB, but the keyboard has south-facing sockets and non-shine-through keycaps, so there's not much RGB to be had anyways. These are linear switches that are pre-lubed, and what surprised me the most was the amount of stem wobble, which is how much the stem moves. These have some of the smallest amount of wobble that I've ever seen, and it looks like it's because of these very smooth bumps on the corners. Nice. So I hope they sell these separately because I would pick some up for a bill. They sound great. But what about the other crucial component that makes a great keyboard? Does it feel good to type on, or is it a stiff brick? But first, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. I mean, the office building. As you can tell, or maybe you didn't notice, the walls have magically changed from avocado green to dark blue. Why? We moved from our bedroom to the office, which is a great segue to our YouTube membership. For only $5 a month, you become a VIP and unlock a treasure trove of extras. And you get the inside scoop with never before seen updates on everything we're doing, including office vlogs, setting up our live stream studio, and more. It's the best way to support what we do and get even more of the content you love. Plus, your comments jump to the front of the line with priority replies. Click join now. So the typing feel here is an interesting topic. By default, it's bouncy and flexible with its gasket mount using little gasket socks, but you also get options for 3 more mounting styles, which can change the way the typing feels significantly. And inside the box, you get all of the supplies. The first is a top mount where the plate and PCB screw directly into the top plate. This is a stiffer typing experience, but it's more consistent throughout the entire board. Now, if you're sick of every keyboard being so bouncy, this might be a good option to try. And speaking of flex, there's flex cuts everywhere. The plate, the PCB, flex cuts, more flex cuts. Unfortunately, you can't do much about this except stuff more foam into your keyboard to stop it from flexing. With top mount, you get a more stable feel throughout, but because of the flex cuts, you'll still get flex in the very middle row, and it makes the spacebar and top row feel really satisfying to type on. But what I didn't realize is how hard it would be to take the keyboard apart once it's in top mount. Because everything's attached to the top plate, you can't just pry it open anymore by pushing in the middle, but you can still take it apart. You just have to hold the bottom and top here and pull it apart using your fingernails. Next, you can try a gasket mount using dumbbell gaskets. These seem like they'd be less bouncy, but I'll give it a try. And to be honest, it felt exactly the same as the regular gasket socks. I barely noticed a difference. And finally, you can go wild and try something crazy. At least that's what I think they want you to do. And there lies the problem. With keyboards on Kickstarter, you have no idea what you're doing with the keyboard because there's no guide or manual or page on their website explaining it. There's other issues too, but we'll get to that soon. So let's just try the crazy thing. A gasket mount using the PCB gasket dumbbells only. I think these should feel the most significantly different than the other ones. And shockingly, this is by far the best bounce out of all the mounting styles. If you want to bounce everywhere you type, go for it. And it feels pretty consistent too. I like the different options they give you. It adds a lot of fun to the keyboard since you get to tinker around with the different levels of foams, different mounting styles. So far, it sounds great, it feels great, but what if the user experience sucks? And that's when the first deal breaker might come in. Like other aluminum frame keyboards, all the 75% ones, this one also has a big problem. There's no on switch anywhere, which means it's underneath caps lock. And if you want to switch between connectivity modes, you have to use FN and key combinations to do it. There's no toggle, you can't just flick to change modes. But if you're willing to put up with this, it's not too bad once you get it set up. The Zen65 has Bluetooth, wireless, and wired. And the best part is it works wired as soon as I plugged it in without any weird tinkering or manual reading. So it came time to do the unspeakable, connect via wireless. I was digging throughout the included case for the dongle, but then I realized it was underneath the case all along. So I plugged it in, flipped the switch to on, and tested the 2.4G connection using my laptop through a USB hub. And dare I say, this thing was barely usable. I had letters chatter like crazy, the lag was intense, and typing was downright impossible. It was probably just my laptop. So I double backed and tested the 2.4G on my computer with a wireless extender, like how gaming mice do it with a dongle close to the keyboard, and then it just magically started working perfectly. So yeah, it was definitely a result of using it with a USB hub and a jank laptop. But if you have that set up, maybe you can't use wireless. Bluetooth also works great on my phone too. So switching between Bluetooth and 2.4G is really easy. It's FN QWE for Bluetooth, FNR for 2.4, and then you just turn it off for wired. But on the bright side, it has VIA to remap your keys. Since it's 65%, you might actually need to reprogram things in other layouts like media controls and more. I didn't get a chance to test this because this is a pre-production model. But their previous keyboards, the Rainy 75 and the Crush 80, have all worked great with VIA. They have had 4 layers that you can remap. 2 are for Windows, 2 are for Mac. The Kickstarter page also says they'll have ISO layouts available, but the layouts are fixed, meaning you can't just swap from an ISO to an ANSI layout and so on and so on. There's plate mounted stabilizers, they're pre-tuned, they feel fantastic. After using it for about a week or so, I did get some ticking on the left side of the spacebar, and I re-lubed it myself. I've had 0 problems since then, but I have had to mod it. And here's what you'll be getting with the Zen65. There's all of the different mounting equipment I mentioned before. You also get a USB-C cable, a keycap and switch puller, and a little soft carrying pouch. And all of this is conveniently stored in a nice carrying case. Now let's go back to the biggest question that I have. Why the Kickstarter? Wobkey has sold thousands of Rainy 75s and possibly hundreds of Crush 80s. So why on earth are they selling this keyboard through a crowdfunding platform? Do they not have the funds? You would imagine that they would have the money they need to sell it straight up on the website with stock prepared. It just feels a little mysterious if you ask me. One of the things that I hate about looking at keyboards on Kickstarter is that there's not much to go by. I know there's going to be a light version that starts at $89 and a pro version that starts at $129, but what does starting at even tell you? I can't say it's the best 65% you can buy under $100 because let's be honest, I don't even know what the final price would be. And what does each version get you? And what is this version, a light or a pro? All of these are mysteries and part of why I'm starting to get tired of Kickstarters, especially if they're coming from established brands that have been in the space for a while. So while I think it's an awesome sounding and feeling keyboard, there are areas where I just can't recommend it in good conscience. Yet. The first would be the Kickstarter. Companies like to start their prices low, then run out of that tier after a limited amount of sales, and then the price shoots up. So if you're looking for a muted, thoughtful keyboard like this, wait. Once it exits Kickstarter and enters their website with an in-stock sale, think about it again. By then, there'll be more information on how the real product will actually come out to real customers. And the second is that it has no toggles for connectivity. Come on, keyboard companies. Get to it. So while I like it, I also don't. But if you're looking for a more tested and proven keyboard that's a tad bit bigger than 75% instead, the Rainy 75 has been the most reliable keyboard for me so far, and I have a review of it right here. Go watch that next.